Hello, welcome, Cabbage here. In War of the Visions, let's do a guide to different builds for Sasayaki. And she deserves a build guide because she's different from pretty much every other character in the game. She is a tank with low HP, but high resistances. And she was very under the radar for a long time in JP even. It wasn't until the release of Super Stern that people really caught on to how Sasayaki could be good. But in Global, we have the benefit of foresight, so people even now, they are working on Sasayaki and getting good use out of her. So hopefully this build guide can help even more. Sasayaki has maybe a reputation as being a whale character. You do get the best use of her, of course, at level 99. There is that hurdle to get over. But as for equipping her, espers and vision cards and equipment, you don't need all UR stuff. There are MR and even SR options all over the place. So more than being a whale, it takes commitment of like time and resources in order to build the levels of those vision cards or make the +5s of the armor in particular. We do want to make the +5s for her because that way we can raise the bonus stat to raise her resistances to different types of attacks. And then evade. An evade build is an option for her. I'll talk about that towards the end of the video. But when I build Sasayaki, I really focus on HP and resistances only. I don't care about defense or spirit. If I can get that as well, that's great. But resistances, that's where her strength is. And it's one of the most powerful abilities in the game, because, if my theory is right, it's the multiplier that is applied at the very last. And so after all the slayers and elemental advantages and defense versus attack and whatever that final number is, the resistance will just cut that. And so, yeah, that's why I think it's the most powerful. And that's also, coming from Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. That's also from talking to people from Brave Frontier, who told me that the resistances, or like damage mitigation, another word for it, is what killed the game, because you got characters whose damage mitigation got too high and just couldn't take damage from anybody. But I got my team here. We'll just stick to 3 members, because that is the PvP team number. And then the different builds for Sasayaki are slash resistance, pierce resistance, strike, projectile, magic. Of course, she has one build for each attack type. So Sasayaki, I would call her a master of all tanking, but she can only do one thing at a time. And so when you build her for a specific type of resistance, then you're going to want to go hunting for a particular team in PvP. So if you build her for slash resistance, you want to fight slash characters, not projectile characters, not magic characters. Okay, but first, let's talk about slash. That is the build you're going to be using the most, because there are the most slash type characters running around. And there's also the most equipment for getting that slash resistance up. So for armor, let's put the golden armor on her. That will get her the slash resistance up 8, and then a bunch of HP. And then that's it for equipment. We recently got the update in JP where like different stats can stack. But with the bonus stat down here, you can only get the 1. So I couldn't give her a weapon with the slash resistance and have those work together. You only get the 1. And then the highest ones for slash resistance are the golden armor and then the platinum helmet. But the platinum helmet, that is a UR item similar to the Alexandrite ring, which you can make through the raid. So making the plus of this is going to be a very, very, very high hurdle. Making the +5 gold armor is already high, but yeah, making this is going to be super duper high. Okay, next we want to give her an Esper with slash resistance. There are a few, but Siren is the only one that can get 25, so that's very, very crazy. And yeah, that's a free Esper that's handed out to everybody, so even though that's a UR, that does make her easier to build for everybody. And then for the vision card, we want to give her a personal ability, which will raise the slash resistance. Probably the one that everyone is most familiar with is this one, the MR card. This will raise slash resistance up to 15 if you can max it. Still working on this. But there is a demerit to this. You have your HP go down by 15%. That happens a lot with MR and lower cards. They give you a benefit, but also a demerit. But 15 slash resistance is the highest that you can get for a personal ability, so I like to use this. A lot of people like to use this. But another option is this card, the Leonis second, whatever it is. This can give you the slash resistance personal ability up to 10, and there's no demerit. You don't lose any HP. I wish I had more draws of this card, but I've only ever pulled the one, so I haven't awakened it at all. So I can't get the 10 personal slash resistance. But we'll give her the Snow White card for now. And then you have the personal ability, and then you have the party ability. So for the party ability, we also want to equip something. We could use this MR card, the Iron Giant. Mine is max, so that will give me 15 slash resistance. Another good candidate would be this new card, fairly new card in JP. This is the Horn, I guess, First Division. This can raise slash resistance up to 20 because it's a UR card versus the Iron Giant. But I don't have that leveled up all the way, so we'll put Iron Giant there. So this is the beginning of the setup where you can get the highest slash resistance, and you can get over 90%, which is very, very crazy. When I took the Sasayaki against Super Stern, I was taking maybe like low 3-digit damage or even 2-digit damage from like Super Stern, Rain, people like that. So very viable build, but of course you're ignoring all of the other attack types like magic and projectile and stuff. Okay, next let's talk about Pierce, and there are no Pierce resistant types of armor yet. So really the only way we can get that bonus Pierce stat is from her Trustmaster, which will give you the 5 resistance to all attack types. And then that's where this Trustmaster comes in handy, is like when there is no other option, or if you want to make use of a build, but you haven't finished making the armor to +5 yet. And then for the Esper, the best one here would be Golem. He can get the +25 on his board. And then the Vision card, I think the best at the moment is Behemoth. We can get the 15 Pierce resistance there. And this has been useful lately, because there's the guild map where Pierce attack gets damage up, and so a lot of the higher level players are using Pierce characters like Gurasura or Victora. Oh, but I made a mistake here. This Behemoth, it's a party ability Pierce resistance, so let's give that to Mont instead. And then there's only one Vision card that gives you personal Pierce resistance. That's the Death Machine from the limited time Final Fantasy I collaboration. And if there's one regret I have in this game, greater than any other, greater than not getting Thancred, not getting Ramza, it's not pulling for the Death Machine. So hopefully the Final Fantasy I collaboration will come back again soon, so I can pull that. I don't care about Warrior of Light, I want that Death Machine card. But with all of the Pierce resistant stuff in the game equipped like this, you can get like 85, over 80% Pierce resistance, and then that will be even higher once they finally release some armor with Pierce resistance. Okay, next let's talk about Strike. There's not a lot of Strike meta going on right now, but you can get the Mithril armor that will give you Strike resistance. And then for the personal Vision card, there is none. They haven't released one yet, so that's going to be a blank. And then for the Vision card, there's not really any good options here either. I think the highest one is Ogre, so that's kind of embarrassing. But for the Esper, you could give her the Behemoth. He does have 15 strike resistance. There's no Esper yet that gives you 25. Oh, I made the mistake again. The party ability on Ogre is the strike resistance, so we'll put that on him instead. And then we can give some other stuff to Sasayaki. The Vow of Love, that could be an option. But to talk about her sub-job, if you gave her the Spellblade subjob, she would have that active provoke skill, the attract spell, so you wouldn't need the Oath of Love then. But if you wanted to use another subjob like the Samurai for like a half evade build, then you would want to use this Oath of Love card. Okay, but max strike resistance I think you can get around 60, maybe almost 70% there. But yeah, that's her biggest weakness right now, is strike attacks. Next is projectile. This is the one that's maybe the second or third most developed after slash. But you could give her a helmet. You can give her the gold helmet. That will give her the highest amount of projectile resistance, and also a lot of HP, so that's something on my to-do list there. You could also give her the mithril helmet if you wanted to go for some evade at the same time. Not as much HP or projectile resistance. And then for the personal vision card, you could again give her the Snow White. This will give her max 15. Again, you're taking a hit on the HP, but I don't think there's any other personal projectile resistance card right now. And then for the Esper, the best one is Death Machine. That's another reason why I totally regret not getting it earlier. But there are other options for projectile resistance, like Odin. You can get some Man-Eater in there as well. And then for the party ability, a lot of options here actually. And then one of them is available right now in Global, the Mobius UR card. That can give you party projectile resistance up to 20. So that could make it tempting for Sasayaki users. But there's an MR option. You can use the Shadowlinks card. That will give you party ability up to 15. So that's not too much different from that Rain card. And then there's a brand new card in JP, which will also give you party ability projectile resistance up to 20, and then Man-Eater. So that's something that you can maybe look forward to in the future, but then for now just use this Shadowlinks card. And then if you get everything together, you get Death Machine, you get a UR Vision card up to 20, you can hit 90% resistance to projectile, which is very, very strong. Okay, next let's talk about magic. Right now the best armor is not yet in Global, but that is the Armor of Light. This is also from the Final Fantasy I collaboration. But it's the only heavy armor that has the bonus stat of a magic resistance. So for Sasayaki users, or also any future heavy armor magic tanks like Agres, you will want this. And then again, for that Final Fantasy I raid, you want light slash attackers or light magic attackers. I talked about that in a previous video, but you might want to prep some of those characters. Okay, and then best Espers here. Fenrir, he was a recent release in JP, a UR Esper. He will give you 15 magic resistance. But you can also get that from Marlborough. That is a lower rarity option, which will also give you 15 resistance. Stats are not going to be as good as the UR unit, of course, but if all you care about is the resistance, that could work there. And then the best vision card, party vision card, or rather the only one, is Fenrir, so I would like to pull him as well. And then if you get all of that stuff together, you can get over 90% magic resistance, because that's the highest resistance that Sasayaki has out of the box. And then if you are going for a magic resistance build on Sasayaki, you definitely want to go for the Spellblade subjob, because she has a self-buff which raises her spirit, which will more increase her magic resistance. And then there's no personal vision card, which will raise the magic resistance, so you can maybe go for like Spirit or like HP or something instead. Okay, so those are the 5 resistances, and then we can talk real quick about an evade build. She can't use hats for one thing, so she won't be able to use Sage's Hat, Wizard's Hat, or Circlet. What you could do instead is you could use Mithril Armor. That will give you some evade. You could also use Mithril Helmet. Not as much evade, but still some there. And then if you use one of those two, that will get you on your way to a projectile or strike resistant build. And then now in JP that we have the stat stacking feature where you can grab evade from all 3 pieces of equipment. You could also give her the Metal Slayer sword. That has 10 resistance there. And then for the Trustmaster you have a whole bunch of options. Most of them are going to be UR, but yeah, you could certainly do that. If you wanted to, you could give her a +5 ring. This fairy ring +5 will give you a bonus stat of 7. But better than that is going to be the ribbon, which is coming out later. This has base evade, and then also bonus evade if you make the plus version. So you definitely want to get 1 or 2 of these, since anybody can equip it. And then for that event, you want dark/attackers again. So yeah, work on your Shadow Links, work on your Gafgarion, or Stern, or Sasayaki, or whoever. You definitely want to get that ribbon. And then for vision cards and espers, you can give them a Tetrasylphid, Shiva, whatever you like. Okay, and then last is kind of a bonus build, and hopefully it's a preview of what's to come, but a slash and projectile resistance build at the same time. But the reason why that is viable is because, again, we can get the Snow White card. This will give us both projectile and slash. And then we can equip the Odin Esper. He also gives us both projectile and slash resistance. And then on the party, we can give the slash resistance here, and then the projectile resistance here. And then for Sasayaki's armor, we can go either way. We could give her either the slash resistance with this armor here, or the projectile from like the gold helm. We'll just do that. And then we can get the other resistance from her Trustmaster, since we can't equip 2 armors. And then this is another instance where her Trustmaster can help, is when you're going for 2 or more resistances at once. But with this setup, we can get the max slash resistance 80%, projectile resistance 70, and then you have a few more slots on your other guys to build for other stuff, like more HP, more attack, that kind of thing. The Iron Giant card is nice, because it will give you slash attack up as well. So especially if you pair Sasayaki with other slash attackers, you can do multiple things at once. And then hopefully, this is not the end of cards like this Snow White. Hopefully we get other cards in the future, which will give you personal resistance abilities, and then also multiple at once, even if it comes with demerits, because that can open up even more build opportunities for Sasayaki. And then although this video is a guide for Sasayaki, these principles will apply to anybody, like Inori, or Prayer, or Grace. She can also take advantage of this. She also has high resistances. She uses hats and light armors, so she's more geared towards magic resistance. But it is possible to give her over 90 or to 100. That's pretty crazy. And then also, hopefully, there are future characters that will be released that also have very high resistances and low HP, because I find them to be a lot of fun. If they do Sadari in that way, low HP, high resistances, I will pull until I get him. He creeps me out, and his relationship to his clone army also creeps me out, but that's also why I like him, so yeah, I would like to pull for him. But yeah, looking at what we put together here, you don't need to pull a lot of URs. Maybe Espers in particular, you want to get some URs, especially Odin, Tetrasylphid, Golem. But otherwise, a lot of this stuff is very manageable and doable, even for free-to-play users. Okay, that'll do it for this video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again. Take care.